Judo, judo, judo. Hey everybody, what's going on? Thanks for swinging by. I sure do appreciate it. If this is your first time with the channel, my name is Mark.
Oh, hi Mark.
Welcome to Fit and Fire. Let's get into this video. This time we're going to be talking about the Kel-Tec RDB. This thing is, first off, it's a monstrosity. And we'll talk about why I call it that here in just a second. But I've never done any type of bullpup content on this channel, and I saw this pop up on Palmetto State Armory's website on a smoking deal and was like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and try that. When I saw it and was like, okay, it's $5.99. I can afford that. That's not a problem. But what would I do? And I started to think, well, I've never really ran a bullpup before. How good would I be in competition running this instead of an AR or an AK? Normally I run one of those two, and I have the manual of arms already figured out. I know exactly what you need to do and what situations, but if someone were just to toss one of these in my hands and said, go compete with this, would I be as competitive? Would I be any better or worse? I was like, that's actually a really great question. Let's dive into that. And so that's how we got to here. I've got 1,000 rounds through this, and I have actually been pretty surprised with the Kel-Tec RDB. Now, full disclosure, I do not have a relationship with Kel-Tec. I'm not getting paid to say anything good, bad, or indifferent when it comes to this rifle by Kel-Tec or anybody else. I'm going to talk about the good with the bad and let you guys decide whether or not this is going to be right for you. And I will tell you right off the get-go, I've had a blast shooting this, and it has been 100% reliable in the 1,000 rounds that I have put through this. Is that a situation where it is specific to this rifle? Yeah, maybe. I've heard good things about these things, but again, people kind of shy away from it because it's Kel-Tec, and it's like, those things are junk, but this has been pretty solid. So let's dive into a bit of a overview on this and why I call this a monstrosity. First and foremost, it's because between the optic and the suppressor, if I was to sell both of these right now, I could buy like almost 7 of these rifles for the price that I paid for it. That is the first thing about it. People have complained in past videos that my rifles don't have good enough glass for them. Like in my Daniel Defense Mark 12 build, I put a Swamp Fox 2-12 MPVO, and they're like, I can't believe you put a $400 piece of glass on a $1,500 rifle. You should spend just as much money on your glass than your rifle. And I was like, okay, well, the glass that I had on my Mark 12, it's doing just fine. It does exactly what I need it. So for those people, you can now go pound sand because this Vortex Gen 3 1-10 is like retails for around $2,500 to $3,000, depending on when and where you buy it. And then the can itself is another $1,000. So I have outspent the rifle on the glass. So just take that. So that's why I wanted to set it up like this, basically for the meme factor. But I digress. Let's talk about what's going on with this particular rifle. Starting up with the front, we do have the Griffin Armament dual-lok HRT 762 can. This thing has quickly become one of my favorite cans. It is got a interface on the can that I really do like. It's kind of like chemo, where it slips on and then you screw it on, but it also has a locking collar as well that kind of gives that extra rigidity in locking it into place. That's something I have really, really liked. This is going to have a like 16.5 inch barrel. For those of you who are not familiar with bullpups, a bullpup is going to be a rifle or a pistol, because those are a thing, that is going to have the action behind the trigger, right? So your bolt carrier, your actual trigger mechanism is going to be back here, which then creates a center of gravity that is closer to your body, making you more compact and easier to wield this in confined spaces. So bullpups have become very popular in organizations that work in urban environments, and you see military units such as the French and even the Brits who have been running bullpups for a number of decades prior to 2025. So anyway, that's kind of the use case for why you might want to purchase one of these if you live in a built-up urban area. Bullpups might be an option. I don't know if it's going to be the best option, but it might be an option. Moving back from there, this does have adjustable gas. We'll touch on that here in just a second. It has a charging handle that is reversible, so you can swap this to the other side. You have ambidextrous safety selector here, which is, again, also over here. You also have an ambidextrous magazine release, which is just a piece of spring steel, and you just depress it and it pops out. When you depress it, the steel kind of flares out, releasing the magazine. It's a very interesting design. You can obviously do it with your left hand as well. It almost seems like an afterthought. It's like, oh crap, we got to figure out how to drop a magazine. And they're like, just put some spring steel, it'll be fine. But yeah, there's that. And then the other aspect of it that makes it fully ambidextrous is because the ejection port is right here, and the shell casings will eject downward. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's got a generous rail up top here, again with the Vortex Razor Gen 3 1 to 10, and there is still enough room to put like an IR device, one of the smaller IR devices on here, but if you don't run a LPVO and you run just a red dot, you're going to have more than enough room to set up an IR device. However, one of the biggest complaints that I've seen from like Brassfax and Hop and things that they've never really liked about bullpups is because it does limit you on setting up your rifle in such a way that you can add IR illuminators and flashlights and all of that type of stuff. Obviously, as you can see, this handguard does not have any type of M-lock on it, so you are going to be pretty constrained if you're wanting to set this up in a battle rifle setup, very similar to what I have here. I've got this set up for kind of night fighting, so I've got IR illuminator, I've got a light, I've got magnification with a EOTech, so yeah, that is more than enough room on that, but with this here, nah, you're not going to have that much room. So needless to say, that's what we've got here. Oh, last thing, the cover on here, this is from T&K. I just was wanting to have a cover on this because I knew that my idiot self would probably burn myself with this can because of how compact this setup is. So I went ahead and just Googled, suppressor cover. This was the first one that came up, so it's been pretty good. I haven't had any complaints about it, so yeah, good on them. So let's talk about the shooting competition real quick and how well did I end up doing? Did I fare any better? Did I fare worse? And I will say that I was pretty much on par with what I normally do, regardless if I'm shooting an AR or an AK. I'm usually in the top 10, and with the two-gun match, the first match that I shot this with, I did come in 10th place. So that was pretty interesting to see that I stumbled a little bit. I had some fumbles on the reload. I had a couple stages where I couldn't really feel comfortable behind it, it seemed like. But I shot well enough to take 10th place. Fast forward a month and I shot a carbine match, so no pistol, just a rifle, and shot this and shared time with the M90 because I wanted to get some content on that as well in a shooting competition for a very specific reason. We'll see. You'll see about that here in the future. But with this sharing time with the M90, I placed 11th. So I really didn't go anywhere as far as where I normally rank. And this is going to be out of anywhere between 35 to 40 shooters. So reasonably in the top quarter, if not the top third of competitors. I'm normally placing in the top third. So I was very surprised at how well I ended up doing running something that I have little time behind, and the manual of arms is different. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Now, let's talk about the reliability. This has been 100% reliable of the 1,000 rounds. I've ran Winchester XM193, which is going to be full power 5.56 55 grain ammunition, and I've got the adjustable gas set to setting 2 of 10, so it's almost turned all the way down. Running a suppressor, this thing has been so soft shooting. I don't know if you'll be able to see it in some of the footage that we've captured, but this thing does not move when I pull the trigger. That's something I really, really did like about it. In addition to that, let's talk about the trigger real quick, because most people know that bullpup triggers are going to be a little bit more clunky than an AR trigger, because you're going to have a lot of like linkage in between the trigger shoe and the actual sear and everything else that's back here. And so you're typically going to have a bit of a heavier trigger. It's just not going to feel as good. But to be honest with you, shooting in competition, I don't have any complaints with this whatsoever. I'm not sure what the poundage is on this, but I want to say it's probably somewhere around that 7 pound mark. I'll put the gauge here in just a second, but here's your take up. Let's ghost it real quick. Here's your take up. Solid wall. Here's your break. Weirdest sound ever. It's so weird when I hear that. Your reset is all the way out, and then there it is, breaking again. It's like nails on a chalkboard when I hear that. But here's what the trigger gauge is at, so there you have that. Now, let's talk about some of the things that I don't like about this, and that is a few different things. These might be pretty nitpicky, but this is going to be different than an AR for sure. Your manual of arms are going to be completely different, and that's my biggest complaint when it comes to bullpups. Now, with the RDB, the manual of arms actually ends up being fairly simple. Most people, if this is an AR, they're going to tuck this in and do all of their work right here, regardless if that is changing a magazine or if you're doing remedial action, you're going to be tucked in like this. However, because the action is so close to your buttstock, you're going to have to prop this out on your bicep to do all of your work. And for some of my smaller framed individuals out there, that may be an issue. Swapping out magazines on this, you do have a bolt release right here, which is not difficult to get to, but for some reason my brain immediately goes to the charging handle, and I want to actuate the charging handle, which slows me down in a couple of different stages that I've ran this. Finally, with the manual of arms, and this isn't specific to the RDB, it goes for any bullpup, is if there is some type of malfunction, failure to feed, fire, or eject, trying to mitigate that and fix the problem is different than an AR. Again, most ARs, you're going to put it in up underneath your arm, you're going to cant it over so the ejection port is facing down, you're going to do all of your work. You can't do that with a bullpup. Again, you're going to have this out in front of you to fix those problems. With the RDB, you're going to basically keep it shouldered. You're going to do all of your work while you have it shouldered, swap your magazine, whatever. But if you end up having a situation where you have to fix a problem, right? Let's say that there's a double feed. let's say that there's a, I don't know, a rare situation with ARs where you'll get a shell casing or a live round above the bolt. Obviously, you're going to lock this back, which is great because you can you can do the HK slap with this charging handle with the way it locks open. Obviously, strip the magazine, and then you're going to have to fish in here holding this parallel to the ground, right? So you're not going to cant this over, right? And in this particular rifle, with it ejecting downward, you can't look over to see into ejection port what's going on. You're going to have to look it down in it and everything. You're going to have to figure out what the heck is going on in there so you can figure out how to fix the problem. So needless to say, it's going to be a situation where if you're going to run this, you're going to have to run it and run it hard and practice on it and make sure that you fully understand the manual of arms with this before you really can kind of master it, obviously. That goes with every rifle, but this one's going to be a little bit more challenging. Some of the malfunctions may be a little bit more different than what you're used to running. So take all of that for what you will. As mentioned, this has been 100% reliable. I've had a blast shooting this, and I would say if you guys are interested in bullpups, definitely check one of these out. They're inexpensive. There are 4 main bullpups on the market. It's going to be this one, the IWI X95, the Springfield Hellion, and then the Steyr AUG. Believe it or not, you can still buy those. And of those 4, this is obviously going to be the most inexpensive, and it's a good starting point. If you're just like bullpup curious, this is going to be a rifle that you could spend, you know, $600, $700, maybe $800 on, and check it out and see if you like it. And if not, just, you know, get rid of it or whatever, you know, trade it for something else. So again, this has been a lot of fun. I would say try it out for sure. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with me on this video and checking out the RDB. Again, had a lot of fun. I want to keep it in my collection, but to be honest with you, I kind of need to make room for other things, so I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not, but it's definitely been a lot of fun, and I would recommend it. So with all of that being said, tons of information in the pinned comment. Swing by and check that out. Check out the Live, Laugh, Larp podcast. We've had a lot of fun putting that together, and we will catch you guys next time. As always, freedom through strength. Here comes a high five. Catch you guys later. Bye, y'all.